Hey, it's Big T. Today I am going to tie a brand new creation that I have recently come up with. This is a fly inspired by Greg with 3 Gs from North Georgia Trout Online. His creativity really shines in some of his videos and fly tying. And then it's a great forum as well if you're looking for some tips and hints and flies and things of that nature, all trout things related. ngto.org. What we're going to do is start with size 6 barbless 3X streamer hook that I have online in my store, and I'm going to tie the thread all the way back. This particular fly is not going to use a bead. We are going to use some lead wraps on it. In addition to the inspiration that Greg has given me, I also have named this after a buddy of mine. So this fly is called the Vandersquatch. And actually I've never fished it before, so I have no idea if it'll work, but that really doesn't matter. What we're going to do is tie a little lead on, give it a little bulk in the middle. It's typical of what we're trying to imitate here. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the Koosh balls. I think a lot of us have used these for squirmy worms. This particular one I found for $1. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to take the leg instead of the individual pieces and cut the 2 legs off. Here we're going to tie those in at the bottom. I only have one of those, so if I screw this up I've got no shot at duplicating it. So we'll have the 2 legs. I don't think you've got to be too precise with the tying of this particular fly. It absolutely should crush fish regardless of how it ends up looking. Now keep in mind some of the colorations will on this particular fly will vary depending on geographic region. We're going to tie this one in more of a brownish black pattern. If you go and are fishing in Russia, maybe even Alaska, you'll want to do this more in a white. And I believe in Florida, where there's a higher skunk ape population, you'll try and stick more in a black, direct black realm, and you may even want to put something that, some sort of nasty cheese or something like that on it that adds to the smell of the great skunk ape. We're going to tie that in. Next we're going to get a piece of, actually we're going to tie in our mohair yarn. I'm going to do a double combination of a little black and a brown to give this a little different flair. And then tie in a piece of fly fishing foam. You can buy this at a craft store and it costs a lot less and is in a bigger sheet. But I like to buy the fly foam stuff and pay 5 times as much for the same product. Alright, so then what we're going to actually do is come up with this. We want to make a solid torso on this particular fly. So we're going to wrap our thread up about 2/3 of the way of the hook shank and come across this way. If you notice the bulge in the middle, yes, you do want that. And then we're going to wrap up to the eye, and not only are we going to come around once like that, we're going to fold that back over to create more of a head type look for us there. Now that you've got that done, we're going to wrap down and come up and over with our mohair yarn. We want to secure that down. This is something you definitely want to get a dubbing brush out and tease out. So once you've got that good and secured in there, let's go ahead and get that going. Give it a little bit more authentic look. Alright, so we got that. We're going to take that koosh ball again and cut off the two arm pieces. In most cases, with most things, you'd make these shorter, but being a Vandersquatch fly, we're going to actually keep these about the same length as the legs. You notice that profile starting to really take shape. I can't wait to get this on the river. Now, right now with the heavy stockings going on at Beaufort Dam, there's probably a good chance I could really do some damage with this fly. Alright. The last thing I want to do to this fly, because I mean you've got to admit at this point in time that's just looking smoking. You could wreck fish with that thing. I'm going to actually take a little bit of brownish dubbing that I've created, and I'm going to take a little bit of Zap-A-Gap, and I've got the brush on. So I want to make sure I get a little more authenticity on this fly. So we're going to brush a little bit of that on arms, legs, and the head, and just dab a little bit of that on there. Give it a little hairier look. You don't want to be too generous with this at this point in time. We don't want too much bulk on this fly other than that midsection. Now there is usually a balder spot starting up at the top region on this fly as well. So keep that in mind. You don't want to completely cover that head, although sometimes you might want to put a hat on that. So at this point, you can see we're at a finished position. We just want to make sure we put a generous amount of Zap-A-Gap on the thread before we go into a whip finish, because this is certainly one that you don't want coming apart on you when you're tying and taking the amount of time and skill level required to tie a fly of this magnitude. So that's it, folks. This thing should be in everybody's fly box. It's the Vandersquatch. It's a good way to look at it there. You can also hold it up. You can see how that thing will fish. It will absolutely just swim away in the water. Look at the movement on that. Kill trout. It's going to be an excellent thing. I'll probably update this later on with some pictures of fish I've caught with this fly. But I hope everybody's enjoyed this video. Please feel free to subscribe to my channel and visit the store as well to purchase these and other fly tying materials. Thanks so much.